I want to go to Birmingham and they're taking me on to cruise. Oh, Mr. Porter, what a funny man you are.
Oh, Mr. Porter from 1937, starring Will Hay, Moore Marriott and Graham Moffat, widely acclaimed as a classic film of its genre. Now, the title came from a music hall song, and the story was about railway worker William Porter, who gets the job of station master at a remote, ramshackle Northern Irish railway station on the border with the Republic. And next Saturday, the Downpatrick and County Down Railway Society are having a screening of it at the historic Strand Arts Centre in Belfast to help raise funds for their flood relief efforts. Robert Gardiner is chairman of the group and he is on the line now. Well, it sounds like a good film over Oh, Mr. Porter, classic comedy. Have you seen it once or twice or how many times, Robert?
I don't want to say how many times, probably about 3 or 4 over the years. I don't really want to sort of go into it with spoilers, if you know what I mean. I want to go into it sort of fresh myself to see it on the big screen for the very first time.
But Buggleskelly, if I'm saying that correctly,
yes,
is the fictional town. And you have said to me through the week that any similarity between Buggleskelly and you is purely coincidental.
I suppose it came as a shock to me that the film actually was set in Northern Ireland. I didn't realise that itself whenever I first heard about it. And yes, and then discovering that actually it was set in County Fermanagh, quite near to Lisnaskea. It just sort of made it so much more appealing to me to know that that was happening back then. But I just loved the idea of there being a Southern Railway of Northern Ireland.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have another clip from that old film, which we'll play very shortly. But on the more serious side of things, Robert, the reason for the screening is to raise some money to help the DCDR recover from that terrible flooding in November last year, where, you know, in a lot of places, a lot of people were badly affected, County Down particularly. What is the state of play, Robert, with everything at the minute?
It's not great, to be absolutely honest. I know the water has receded since November, obviously, and the news agenda's moved on. And everyone thinks everything just got a bit of a wash, it's fine. But really, with railway infrastructure and rolling stock, the damage is more or less invisible because water would get into things like the bearings of the wheels, traction motors on the diesel locomotives, which is sort of like the equivalent of throwing a hairdryer into a bathtub. It's not a good combination, we've having to try to dry everything out. We've had independent reports commissioned that suggest that if we were to get everything professionally overhauled, it would cost probably the guts of over £2 million. And that's not including the damage to the infrastructure as well. So there's quite a bit of a bill probably to pay. So some rolling stock may never run again. What we're trying to concentrate on the ones that were the least damaged and prevent the others from getting any worse.
I mean, that
really
amount,
slow.
Robert, that figure is truly staggering, actually. And I mean, the work that you do, because in fairness, you are Northern Ireland's only operating heritage railway. So it would be a great shame if you weren't able to continue. But I mean, you there is a certain level of optimism as well, isn't there?
There is, yes. And the guys have been just getting stuck in since November. There's been no stopping them. Every weekend, midweek, getting things operational. We've got things operational again that I didn't expect to get operational this side of summer. They're out testing one of the diesel locomotives, the Dairy Girls train. It was very lucky. It more or less escaped just of where it was in the station. So when we get back up and running, it's going to be that. Steam might be some considerable way down the line, unfortunately, not least because the locomotives were mid-overhaul at the time of the flooding. But we'll get something.
Yeah, of course. And the key word that you used there, Robert, was when. And that's the positive and the optimistic line that I suppose you have to take. But the film screening next Saturday will help with that. And we do have another clip from that classic 1937 film. And the theory or the story really is it's about a bumbling railway station master who unwittingly becomes embroiled in a smuggling operation across the new frontier with the Irish Free State, as it was back then. So this particular bit is a classic clip from Oh, Mr. Porter.
train's gone. Stopped. The next train's gone.
What do you mean next train's gone? There's no sense in that. It's like saying that the last train that came in hasn't...
Hasn't what?
Well, hasn't gone. Don't argue with me. Come out and let me in.
Come out? What, at night? Not me.
Hey. Oh, there you are.
What, are you here again?
Again? I haven't been away yet.
The next train's gone, one way or the other. And I think next weekend you'll also have a special guest, Robert, to chat a bit about the history of the film, who Will Hay was, before the screening. Is that it?
Yeah, we'll have Robert J. Simpson coming down from Coleraine. He's a bit of a train buff as well as a film buff.
Okay.
And I think it's important as well because a lot of people won't know who Will Hay and the three characters actually are. So he's going to be explaining who Will Hay was, how popular they were in their day, and give it a little bit of context to the film before we actually sit down and eat our popcorn.
Of course, popcorn. You can't have a film screening without plenty of popcorn. I'm sure it will go very, very well. Robert Gardiner, thank you so much for joining us on the programme today. Oh, Mr. Porter will be screened next Saturday. That is February the 24th at 8:30, and it's at the Strand Arts Centre in Belfast, which is a lovely venue. All to raise funds for the Downpatrick and County Down Railway flood relief efforts. Tickets are £20, donations optional, and you can book at downrail.co.uk/cinema.